Masters fans. So here we have a rematch of the finals from U.S. National Championships. David Walsh versus Kelly Davies. So for those of you who didn't get to follow all of the excitement that we had at Nationals, these guys are actually from the same store. They had driven to Nationals together. They're the only two players at Nationals from their local store. I believe the store is called Dragon's Lair in Austin, Texas. So shout out to Dragon's Lair. Really great retail store. They ran one of the WizKids Open events. But these guys didn't, do well at that because they weren't playing Dice Masters yet. They're pretty new at the game, and pretty new all things considered because the game's just over a year old. So these guys got really competitive, got really into it, and here they are. Kelly asked me to sign every card on his team the other day, so you can see it on the Millennium Puzzle. Really flattering. Okay, so of course we had of course we should expect a turn one poly buy from David after speaking with him before. We have a really good idea of how his team is going to work. So Kelly is using a lot of the same concepts from Nationals of, hey, I'm going to use Black Widow, I'm going to use Constantine. Constantine's, of course, in addition because he wasn't around during Nationals. Gabi is something that is missing from Kelly's team compared to his Nationals build, so that's a notable change. But he loves his Millennium Puzzle, and so can you. It's just such a great die. Okay. Whoa. Oh, so he. What is he gonna do here? So he's just picking up his reroll. Okay. So shield, wild, sidekick. That's pretty good because it means the wild can be used for a bolt, and you can take advantage of David's blue eyes if you'd like to. So Charlie Cates, who you might recognize from the National stream if you know the name, kind of points over at the fact that David and Kelly are matched up and just mouths to me, brutal. Yeah, this is tough. Like, these guys are both such strong competitors, close friends. Always a little unfortunate when you get paired up like that, but they're obviously going to make the most of it. So Kelly used Resurrection to get Black Widow into his prep area, and he has saved a bunch of energy to use Professor X's Global a lot. You gotta imagine that both of these players feel good to be playing each other, knowing that, hey, at least one of us is going to have a win next round. If I had to guess based on the psyche of the players, I would say David is coming into this not hyper confident that he's going to win, but he's probably got a game plan here because he has practiced. He always has a plan. But Kelly's the kind of guy who kind of sits there and says, like, oh, dude, I play for fun. What happens, happens. Like, obviously I want to win, but sometimes you just don't. I think that's kind of the headspace these guys are in. It just comes down to everybody who's out here playing Dice Masters are real people at the end of the day. Really easy to be around. So let's see what into the dice tower the dice go. Okay, so lots of fists there. So Venom's Global is one that I really like, and I've talked about how cool it is and stuff like that. But just not good against polymorphed guys. They come in at level 1. There's nowhere left to spin them. So looks like Kelly's gonna reroll those. So he scoots those to the side. So he's keeping Fist, Shield, Wild, Bolt, Mask. He's keeping one of everything that is not already that is not a psychic, and of course he ends up rolling some psychic dice. So I should say psychic faces, maybe. So he's kind of playing out like, what am I gonna do? Let me despise Arena. Kelly doesn't mind the almost autopilot nature of things. Um, let's see where he goes from here. Yeah, he's gonna. I think he's gonna save. Oh nope, buys another Zarina. He figures he's guaranteed to roll one next turn. He's gonna roll plenty of dice in general, and he has a really strong understanding from playing so many games against such high-level opponents. When and how many Zarina dice he's gonna need to apply that lethal pressure to KO his opponent. So yeah, Dave's down 12. So the kind of pressure that Kelly just applied via Zarina is exactly the kind of pressure that David is always touting in terms of what makes formerly Weapon 10 good. David revealing, I think there, that he's not hiding dice between his fingers. Okay, so figuring out what to keep. So as a reminder, the Doom Cal that David is using is not the one with the global. It is an out to prismatic spray, which is pretty cool stuff. Okay. Fist, sidekick. Oh yeah, that sidekick is critical for David being able to poly someone in this turn. I had a tendency to speak negatively about anger issues earlier in the day because you're forced to have a character to make your action fire off, and that's not a good feeling. Part of the weirdness there and why polymorph is different is because it can be beneficial when used on your opponent. So in scenarios where you miss the character die, you've got this other ability. It might not be great, but it's not completely meaningless. There's not really action fixing right now, right? There's not, oh yeah, spend an action phase to get energy out of it, or turn an action phase to a different function when you bought it. But action dice are often the source of powerful effects for low costs. In the case of polymorph. So David's really trying to figure out what's Kelly doing next turn. So Kelly's gonna obviously use the Professor X Global. He's got 5 sidekick dice in his use pile right now, so he's gonna shift 2 over to the prep area and then be adding 1, so he'll have 4 sidekick dice and 3 Zarina dice. He'll be rolling 4 dice. His odds of getting more than 1 Zarina out of the bag alone are pretty good. Being able to snag the one from his prep area, only adds to things. And if each Zarina cruises for 4, that turns into lethal damage for David. But David's polymorphed out his Manticore. As we talked about, this is great against kobolds, it is great against sidekicks, and sometimes it's great against Zarina. This could be one of those times. There's no Slifer or Magic Missile Global, which is pretty critical for Kelly's success. It means that Kelly can field the Black Widows at level 2 or 3 and not have them immediately fall prey to the Manticore. Doom Caliber Knight. So yeah, this guy pops himself to stop an action die. But you don't get to pick when it happens. So you could attempt to poly, for example. It not be a good poly. He cancels it, and then your opponent sprays you. Nonetheless, I think people are gonna get tripped up by it. We're not at the point yet where either of these guys is out of the running for losing this game. Ooh. This is probably game. If I had to guess, I think Kelly's gonna reroll to get character faces on his Zarinas. I think he wins. Honestly. Boom boom. So passes priority. It's easy to imagine that there isn't a play for David here. Also cool is that the polymorph global could allow. I can't see what character faces there are. Oh, but he paid one to field him. So, if in the case where you have a Zarina at level 1 and the Zarina at level 2, you can pay a mask to spend the level 2. Sorry, we have 2 Zarinas at level 2. You can spin one down and one up and actually generate an extra point of damage for yourself. Well, for yourself. For your opponent, that's where the damage goes. So, Kelly is attacking with both and putting David down. I think he's down to 6. That doesn't seem to make sense. So, it should have been 5 damage from the attacking Zarinas plus 4 damage from their abilities. So, David should be at 3. So Kelly does miss lethal by 1 point there. You can see that David updated the die in the center. And David just simply is not able to go for the game at this point. Another thing to consider is that when Kelly sits on those 2 masks, there's potentially not a meaningful global is what it seems like, when in fact he can use Mr. Fantastic to go ahead and get someone to attack. Yeah, pay a mask, target character must attack this turn. So the way that Manticore needs to sit there is not going to work. And this is actually the scenario that I've kind of chirped on about here and there, that if you got Wolverine weapon 10 and you have a second character, your opponent's going to make him attack, and you're gonna oh, hey, someone just made a coffee run for the guys. So coffee delivery. What friendly players we have. What celebrity treatment David Walsh receives from Dice Masters fans? Someone he knows, not just a stranger. Don't worry. So this is an area I talked about, that when you have a taunt style global in Phoenix or Mr. Fantastic, people are going to force your guy you want to sit, your field sitter, I guess I'll call him, to come and attack as well. And so, since Manticore only ever has a maximum of 4 attack, at worst it's neutral that you force him to attack, and Wolverine loses his bonus 4 damage. But in most cases, he's going to be 1 or 2, and you're going to save yourself 2 or 3 life points, and you're going to have one more guy that you can maybe block him and take advantage and do some other cool combat tricks. Let's see what David does here. Okay, he attacks with both, and I think, yeah, Kelly just takes it. He's at 18. Okay, so Kelly knew he was going to get his Arena this turn, but, oh, so I disagree with Kelly's play, that he did not. Okay, yeah, so Dave doesn't have a way to stop the last damage from that Zarina. So we're gonna get Kelly over here in just a moment. I'm gonna go make sure the players have their match filled out.